Well, obviously it's an answer that I would love to have go on for hours and hours. We are talking about the incredible technology revolution that surrounds us and is going to throw both you and I out of a business theoretically. And I really believe that I have a term that I call extreme humanization. And I really believe that we can create products and services which are so extraordinarily human, extraordinarily different, that they will survive this technology onslaught. I used an example in my talk this morning about a bank, retail bank, that has created 17,000 jobs while all the big banks are throwing people out. And they have humanized the service. They have given frontline people the power to really help clients in trouble. They give dog biscuits away by the millions. So I think humanization of service is a huge possibility. Humanization of products is a huge possibility. So I'm not ready to throw the towel in. Well, I'll answer two very different answers. A lot of the companies that were in search of excellence, which is now 37 years old, have come on hard times. And the principal reason is giant companies do not do well over the long haul, period. It's almost a virtual impossibility. And so my focus these days is on the SMEs, the small and medium-sized enterprises, which, fascinatingly enough, in terms of percentage of people employed and so on, our numbers are the same as your numbers. 80% of people everywhere, whether it's Mauritius or whether it's Colombia or the United States, work for the medium-sized enterprises. And relative to what you're talking about, if you want an adaptable organization, and I realize how silly this sounds at some level, hire adaptable people.
Right.
Yeah, and we get so suckered in by, we need the person who had the highest grade point average. We need somebody who loves all the STEM stuff, and it's terribly important, there's no question about it. But there's a pharmaceutical company, a growing pharmaceutical company, and the guy who runs it said, we have a secret to having this great culture. We only hire nice people. He said the reality is, take some incredibly sophisticated degree in microbiology. He said there are a lot of people with those degrees.
Yeah.
Don't hire the jerks.
Right.
And so it begins with hiring. And I'm not saying this because you are the one sitting on the other side of the table from me, but the odds go right through the roof that you'll do it right if you've got a higher share of women in senior management positions. On average, there are men who can listen and women who can't, but in terms of on average, women are far better fit for today's enterprises that no longer resemble Napoleon's army, for God's sakes.
Right.
And it's a huge thing. And the wonderful news about it, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm kind of a half academic, is you can find a truckload of research which says, in just plain simple terms, women outperform men as leaders. Well, there are a million pieces to the answer, but one of the pieces, even if it's a small company, is to become a student. We had a compressor go sour in our sub-zero refrigerator. And the guy who came out to fix it has about a 5-person appliance repair company in a small town. And so we got chatting, and he paid for it out of his pocket. He had just returned from a 10-day training course on the Internet of Things. And so, this idea of learning, of keeping up with the technology, maybe even getting ahead of the technology, applies to a 3-person business, to a 1-person plumbing business or electrician's business. It's the same situation, but you really have to be devoted to being a student for life. Keep on learning, only hire nice thoughtful, decent, empathetic people and show up on time. It's tiny things.
Right.
Years and years ago, my wife and I had a renovation of a home. And the contractor who was going to get the renovation, he was supposed to be at the house at 11 o'clock. I watched him. At 10:45, his truck pulled up outside, and he sat in his truck quietly until 10:59, and then got out of the truck and came into the house. I mean, I'm barely exaggerating when I say he had the job. And it's that sort of,
Right.
loud, if you will, in a funny way, attention to details that is a winning strategy for that 1, 2, 4, 5, 10 person organization.